Guys, this is the sneaker sessions. We are taking things beyond just the audio of the interview that we do, and we're doing a little sneaker hangout. Get those guys in there. They're beautiful. Joining me today, Dominique Badji, the striker for Cincinnati FC. First things first, am I calling you Dominique or Dom?
We'll go by Dom. It's a lot.
Was I saying Dominique not well enough? Dominique?
So it's Dominique.
Dominique.
It's French. It's
Dominique.
very, very French.
Can
Dominique.
you say Renee Paquette in a good French accent for me?
Yeah, Renee Paquette.
You guys, we have a new intro for the show. I like when somebody else can say my name better than I do.
I remember seeing your name. We were talking about it the other day. I was like, Renee Paquette. I was like, she sounds French.
That's pretty French.
Yeah.
Yeah, then my parents threw Jane in as my middle name, so they really broke it up to just like throw you a curveball. Is she French? Is she not? I'm like on the fence, pretend French. So don't throw me too many questions. Okay, so striker for Cincinnati FC. Am I calling you a striker or are we calling you forward? What do you prefer?
Oh, forward. In the U.S., they like to use the word forward a lot more. Everywhere else in the world, it's considered a striker. But since we're U.S. based, we're going to go with forward.
Did you have to adjust to that?
Yeah. And there's a lot. I mean, there are a lot of positions on the soccer field, too, that the U.S. have kind of taken and made into their own
As they
version.
do, don't they, America? Just making things your own, and we all got to adhere to it. Okay, so we're going into season 2 for you with Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling?
Feeling great.
Yeah.
We're undefeated so far.
Hell yeah, you are.
3 games, 2 wins. 2 wins, 1 draw.
Okay.
So it's a good start to the season. We're one of the few undefeated teams still.
Well, let's keep the streak alive. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it going. How was the off season for you? Because I feel like it was short. I didn't realize how short it was for you guys. So Brittany, your woman, my friend, producer extraordinaire here on the show, obviously I'm keeping tabs on what she's doing. And I was like, wait, you guys are back in Cincinnati? The season's already started again? That was like really fast.
Yeah, it felt like, I think it was about 6 weeks. We made it to the playoffs, so that made our season a little longer, which is great. But then we had 6 weeks to celebrate the off season. And since I'm the one doing all the traveling during the year for all the games, the 6 weeks were all for Brittany. And so we went all over the place, West Coast to Hawaii, visited some of my family on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And then 5 weeks later, came back here.
Here we are. How has Cincinnati been treating you? You've been able to play for a handful of other teams, but now landing here in Cincinnati, how's the city treating you?
Cincy, it's growing on me.
Okay. But I will say it, because I feel like I'm new here too. I've not been in Cincinnati for all that long, but you don't really think of Cincinnati as, sorry, Cincinnati. It's not like that destination of like, oh my God, I'm in Miami or I'm wherever. It's not that, but there's some charm.
There is. And prior to this, I mean, it's kind of tough to beat. I was in Nashville, Denver,
good cities,
Dallas for a little bit. And so I'm always used to being in the heart of it, downtown, busy. But we moved out here and we moved out to Batavia. Yes. Suburbs.
Yes.
Recently.
How's suburb life treating you? Suburb and dad life. That came at you fast, huh?
I love suburban life.
Okay.
It's laid back. It's slow. And, we've lived the city life and we know what that's about. Yeah. But now that we have a daughter, it's nice to have space, have peace and quiet for her to just roam around and we can feel safe walking a stroller down the street.
So we know who you are as a soccer player, as a forward, as a striker. But I've also become familiar with Dom the Builder. So you're pretty hands-on. You get out there and you are building things and you've got your tools. Talk to me about kind of getting into this. Have you always been pretty hands-on like this, or is this dad you kind of stepping up?
This is dad me. Okay. Because prior to this, we lived in the city and rented for the most part. Yeah. And so not a lot of modifications you can do, but now that we have our own home.
Roll up the sleeves.
So we're making modifications to a few things and I've enjoyed it. Getting on YouTube and just trying to figure things out. Making a lot of holes.
Oh my God. Is that not the worst part? Like you get ambitious, you're like, oh, now I gotta fill the holes and putty it and sand it all down.
Yep. There's actually a hole that I messed up. I puttied it, sanded it about a month ago and still haven't painted it. It's just,
that's how it happens.
It's one of those things.
You're like, it's good enough for now. Good. Now you're in the season.
Exactly.
You're not getting to it for a while now. I
true.
can almost guarantee it. What has been the biggest blunder for Dom the Builder?
Oh. So I put up these vertical curtains up once, but I got the spacing wrong. So I didn't put enough supporting little hooks.
Oh, okay.
And so I put 3 and I should have put 6. Put it up. As soon as I put the blinds on, it just tipped, broke, and pulled a huge chunk out of the wall. And I couldn't putty it, so I had to call one of my friends who's a painter, and he had to come in and professionally do it.
Oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking when stuff like that happens. It's just a big mess. And
Yeah, it is.
Ay, caramba. But anyways, you're working on it. I appreciate it.
There.
I enjoy following it online. So maybe you can come to my house and help us, because my husband is not handy at all. He doesn't even really attempt it. So
well, a big reason I started to do it is because we wanted to finish our basement.
Yeah.
Just few little things we want to modify in the house. And it's really expensive.
I know.
And they're like 2-3 months out. And so I was like, you know what? I'll roll up my sleeves and I'll do it.
Yes. Yeah.
But I understand why it's so expensive, because it's not easy.
We're in the thick of it right now. We just redid our kitchen and our bathroom. We had to book 6 months out. They took all of our money. It's crazy. Anyways, that's not what this episode's about. We're talking soccer here. So I got to read an article that you wrote talking about what it was like growing up in Senegal and being a soccer player. And essentially how little you had, but the joy that you felt playing and watching the World Cup. Walk me through some of those experiences for you, of what your like earliest experiences were with soccer and what your dreams were with that.
Yeah, as long as I can remember, I've played soccer. That's the only sport I was exposed to when I was in Senegal. And that's the only sport I'd say a majority of the kids are exposed to.
Yeah.
Everybody plays 24/7. There's a soccer ball everywhere you go.
So you grow up, you're playing soccer, and in the article you're talking about how it was wrapped in cloth?
Yeah.
How did you make the soccer ball? What was it made of?
Rags. You just take a whole bunch of rags. It could be clothes that people don't use anymore, dirty kitchen rags, blankets, sheets. And you just essentially roll it up into a ball. You get some rubber bands, just band them up, roll it again, band them up until you have somewhat of a ball. It's never circular, but it's good enough to kick around.
It'll do the job. When did you get your first soccer ball?
I got my first soccer ball when I was 6 years old. I remember. And for the longest, I had asked my dad to get me a soccer ball. He was like, no, I'm not going to get you a soccer ball. They were a little pricey.
Sure.
So me and my friends at the time, I'd say about 6 of us, put all our money together for, I'd say within the span of 4 or 5 months, and got a soccer ball.
Where were you getting your money from?
Oh, so we used to do this thing. This is awesome.
Okay.
So we're very prideful of where we're from neighborhood-wise in Senegal. And so you would challenge other neighborhoods to a soccer game.
Okay.
And so we have our squad. We got 7, 8 players. Walk around to the next neighborhood. We're like, all right, we've got 500 CFA, which is our money in Senegal, which is equivalent to $1 here.
Okay.
We're like, we've got 500. You guys put up 500. Let's play against each other, and the winner takes the money. And so we would do that, and then you win. The next day, you got 1,000. You go to the next neighborhood, and you're like, hey, we got 1,000, and then you just wake your way up.
Get that little loot. Go get that ball. What was your team called?
We're called Sacré-Cœur 3. It's just our neighborhood.
Okay.
Sacré-Cœur 3.
Okay.
Which translates to Sacred Heart.
I thought that's what it was. See, guys, I know French too. I also know French. Okay, so you get your first soccer ball, and then fast forward to being able to watch World Cup. What was it that kind of sparked that, wow, this is actually watching soccer on literally the grandest stage. This is something that I could maybe do.
The World Cup 2002, where Senegal made it to the quarterfinals. Unreal.
Yeah.
That was when it really clicked that this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Watching the whole country shut down to watch the national team. And when I mean shut down, streets are empty. Shops are closed. Nobody's working. Day off from work.
Yeah. Like a holiday, national holiday.
It really is a holiday. Every time the national team plays, it feels like a national holiday. Seeing them and seeing how much love they got and support from everybody, I wanted to be part of that. And so I was like, from this day forward, this is what I want to do.
So how did you do that? Like, these are the stories that always really blow my mind, to be able to see something and to follow these dreams, to try to make that happen, to move to the United States. And we'll get into some of that stuff. But for you to even have the conversation with your parents of like, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. What was that conversation like? Did they believe in you right away, or were they like, that's a crazy hoop dream?
My mom is my biggest supporter. She's always been. And when I say biggest supporter, I've had a lot of supporters. Mm-hmm. She's always, hey, whatever you want to do, you're going to do it. I'm like, I want to be a soccer player. She's like, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
But my dad said no. He said, you are going to be an academic. He was the first to graduate from college in our family. And so he wanted me to be the second person. And so he said, you're going to go to school, you're going to graduate college. And then after that, you can decide what you want to do.
So you really held very true to that. You did go and do that. You graduated early as well, right?
Yeah, I did. I graduated early to be eligible for the MLS draft.
What an overachiever.
Oh,
look at you go.
I had opportunities to go professional actually after my sophomore year, but my dad told me I couldn't.
Okay, so what was like the internal struggle of that? Were you like dying to hurry up to go play, or did you know I would like to graduate, I want to have that in my back pocket?
No, back then I just wanted to play soccer. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really understand the importance of getting a college education. But after completing it and moving on from college, I'd say 2-3 years later, I really understood how important that was for me.
Smart to have.
I'm happy that my dad pushed me that way.
Wish I had one. I went to high school and here we are. But hey, to each their own.
Hey, we've all got our own paths.
We do. Okay, so I kind of like jumped ahead here a little bit, but for you to figure out, yes, I want to be a soccer player. What were the steps for you to actually achieve that, to start kind of getting those wheels in motion, to look to come to play? In the United States was the first place that you wanted to land to do that, or was Europe somewhere that you were looking to do that?
So I just wanted to get out of Senegal to begin with. Mm-hmm. I loved Senegal and that's where all my family is, but nobody really leaves Senegal. Mm-hmm. And my dad worked in Tanzania, which was all the way on the eastern coast of Africa, and Senegal's on the western coast. Mm-hmm. So I'd see him a couple times a month, and I was just very curious to what life outside Senegal was. And so for the longest, I asked him to take me with him. Eventually, he took me with him. And once I moved to one place, I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
And so kept moving. We went from Senegal to Tanzania to Zimbabwe. And that's when I was 15 years old. And I was like, all right, I want to leave and go to the States.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Were your parents like freaking out
Yeah.
to send you away? Like, I couldn't imagine. Now being a dad too, does that not like make you shake in your boots a little bit?
As a 15-year-old, like 15.
You're a baby.
Yeah, you are.
You felt like you were ready to go, and I'm sure you were ready to go.
Yeah, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't convinced. It took a lot of convincing.
What were those conversations like? Was he just telling you, like, what was he saying to you?
I wouldn't say, he's very protective of me. Mm-hmm. I'm his oldest son. And so I think he sheltered me a little bit and was afraid of what life would be like in the States, in a place that he's not familiar with.
Yeah.
If it was somewhere else where he had been and he knows people would be different, but here he knew nobody. And so he was very reluctant.
Okay, so you moved to the United States. What was it like stepping off that plane for the first time?
It was cold.
Where did you land?
DC.
Okay.
Ronald Reagan Airport. Oh, funny story. So I got held up at immigration for 3 hours.
We love that. We love a good immigration moment.
As a 15-year-old, 3 hours getting questioned about what you're doing here. Where are you? What are your documents? And I was like, what is going on? And I was like, I want to leave. I do not want to stay here.
Oh my gosh.
Held me in like a little room, left me alone.
Must have been sweating bullets.
I was like, I do not want to go to this country.
Ooh.
And then they eventually let me go, and yeah, it's history.
Yeah. So 15 years old, and what did you do when you got here? What was the next step? So
we had a family friend / I see her as a mother figure for me. Mm-hmm. She lived in DC. Stayed with her for a little bit before I enrolled at Episcopal High School in Alexandria, Virginia. Okay. All boarding school.
I've got questions about that. Keep going.
And that was it. I mean, honestly, I stayed with her for a week, and then I was like, she took me to school orientation, and then here you go. Okay, so you moved from Senegal. You're in DC now, going to a boarding school. Your head must be spinning. Yeah. Oh my God. And it's quite the boarding school. Very. What do you mean by that? Can we talk a little trash? What I'm trying to get my daughter to go there, so we are not going to talk trash about this school.
We love them. It's a great school, great education.
No, Episcopal High School, Alexandria, Virginia, very prestigious school. A lot of very affluent kids, very different backgrounds from me, obviously where I come from. So it took a lot of time to adapt.
Yeah.
And fortunately, soccer is what I had to ease my transition into that community.
Who was your first friend?
First friend was my roommate. He was from Nigeria and he was a basketball player.
Okay.
Sadiq Abubakar. Yeah, him and I were
thick as thieves.
Oh yeah, still are.
Okay, so you're in Virginia. You're going to school. Things are working out. Things are looking good. Now, when you get that call, you're going MLS. Talk to me about that, getting that call, getting drafted, and what that experience was like. Who was with you?
So, all right. So, draft. I went to the combine. I barely got into the combine because I went to Boston University. It's a smaller school in regards to soccer. Okay. Huge hockey school. They ran everything. So
Did you become a hockey fan?
No, but I loved the BU BC games. Okay. Boston College, Boston University games were unreal to watch. And that's all I watched.
Okay. Didn't get into the Bruins? Come on.
I went to a couple of the Bruins games, a couple Celtics games, Red Sox games.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. Yeah, a good sports scene in Boston, though. Yeah.
So I did that. And all the teams were winning at the time over there. So it was a great city to be in.
Yeah, for sure.
But getting drafted, I got passed on the first 3 rounds. And in the 4th round, I remember it starting, it was like a Sunday. And I was like, I'm not going to get drafted. Like, there's no point. All the teams told me they were going to draft me early, blah, blah, blah. Like, so I actually went for a bike ride. And just to clear my head, it was like an hour bike ride. Came back home, looked at my phone, and I was just getting blown up. And I looked at it, and they happened to draft me. Colorado Rapids drafted me in the 4th round.
When you were kind of sweating it, thinking that you weren't going to be drafted, what were you thinking? Like, what am I going to do next? Like, what do you do?
So prior to making it to the combine list coming out, I had actually applied for certain jobs.
Oh, like what?
I was an international relations major, and so I wanted to work in international relations. Okay. And so I applied for.
What does that mean? What would a job in international relations be like? Working at like
so
I can't think of the word right now.
Government.
I went to high school, guys. I can't think of the word.
You could government organizations, NGOs. Yeah. Anything that's like a liaison between the U.S. and another country. Yeah,
got it.
And so I was looking.
I was trying to think of the word of what that is, but yes, that's the description of it.
Nowadays in college, you get a degree and you can kind of
Who needs it?
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I was just, at this point, I was like, all right, I just need to find a job. Yeah. And so I was applying to anything and everything, just in case. And
luckily they gave the call.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a relief. Okay, so you get that first paycheck. What was the first thing you bought?
I bought a chain. I bought an $80 chain. We were in Vegas on preseason. I was like, wow, this is what preseason's like. So I got.
What had you been to Vegas before that?
Never.
Oh my gosh.
I had never left Virginia or Boston before. And so.
Vegas, here we come.
I was like, this life is nice.
How old were you at that time?
21.
What did you do in Vegas?
I didn't do anything.
No?
I really didn't do anything. Okay. A lot of the guys were older on the team. I was still getting integrated. This was the first time I had met any of them. Yeah. And I came from a boarding school. We don't really go out.
Well, I always feel like that's when people are like, now it's time to let loose. Yeah, I've been in boarding school and it's time to let it rip.
I see it, but for me it was more, all right, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know what this soccer life is about, so let me just observe.
Have you ever gotten in trouble?
Never.
You seem like you really kind of have your shit together, though. Like, you seem like you're not going to get it. You're not going to be a troublemaker. You're not going to be the shit stirrer.
Oh, man. I have never gotten in trouble, ever.
Nothing to see here whatsoever.
Oh.
You're going to what? Oh, yeah, sure.
That's a good question. Never gotten in trouble ever.
I have a follow-up to that, though.
I honestly need to think about that.
Good? So I do feel like there's a little bit of that added pressure, though, being in like a new country and your career is on track. Like you really didn't want to mess anything up.
Well, how do you repeat that question? Sorry, I made a note.
Oh. I don't remember how I started now. Okay, so not getting into trouble. I feel like there's like a little asterisk next to that, though, because you're new in the country. Your career is on track. You really didn't want to take any risks to get in a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah, I think I had a lot to lose.
You did have a lot to lose.
I was playing it very safe and more so just observing to see what the environment's like, see what's okay, what's not okay.
Was there ever, I guess, kind of like that fear of like, oh, if I screw everything up, I'm going to have to go back to Senegal and now what do I do?
Oh, yeah. My dad used that all the time.
Yeah,
He's
bet.
like, all right, now you're leaving me. Well, if you mess up, you're coming right back.
Yeah, I know. It's really scary. I remember thinking that like when I left Canada, and that was something that, I mean, I just became a citizen last year. And until then, I was just like a little bit like, oh, don't get in any trouble. Don't risk anything to get booted from the country when you've been like busting your ass to be here for so long. It can be a little scary.
Right. That's why my introduction to the U.S. was immigration. I was like, what did I do? I just hopped on a flight and came here, and all of a sudden, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're in MLS, you're in Colorado. Well, first you're in Vegas. Where was, like, for your first time being in the United States, what city kind of blew your mind the most as you start traveling around and visiting different places? It's kind of funny in the United States how you can go from like one state to another and the accents are so different. You know what? The vibe is so different.
Yeah, Utah.
Oh, Utah will throw you for a loop.
It was interesting to me. It still is interesting every time we go to Utah.
Sure.
Yeah, people are a little different. It's a little empty. And not somewhere I'd want to spend my free time.
Amen. Though Zion's really nice. Have you been to Zion?
I've heard Zion's very nice.
Zion and like Bryce Canyon.
What about you? What's your favorite place to visit in the States? And what's the
one that's... Nashville's up there. I love Nashville. I love Seattle. Seattle's another really good one. What was the biggest, I guess, like culture shock for you moving to the United States? I know mine already.
Oh, there were a lot.
Yeah.
The first one for me was how big the portions of food are.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It still blows my mind.
Yeah.
If I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I'm like, I'll just have a small coffee, and it's like this gigantic.
Yeah, it's being at school and seeing how everything was like supersized. It was cool at the time because I was like, oh, I can spend $1 and get all this food.
Give it all to me.
But I was not used to that back in Senegal.
I think the first thing that I was like, oh, this is America, because everyone in Canada is like, we're so known for being very nice. And opening a door for somebody, and instead of saying you're welcome, they go, uh-huh. They you instead of you're welcome. And I was always like, wait, did I do something wrong? It like threw me for a loop. It's so small. Those like little nuances are funny.
To piggyback off of that, and where I'm from in Senegal, everybody says hi to each other. Even if it's a complete stranger. Like walking down the street, it's normal to say hi to people.
Yeah.
But here, the places I have lived at, a lot of the time, people kind of keep to themselves or like head down when you walk past somebody.
Yeah.
Whereas in Senegal, everyone's like, hey. And then,
some eye contact.
Yeah.
A little something, a little warmth. Yeah, it's not always like that. Okay, dad life. How is dad life treating you? Your baby is so stinking cute. Like literally from day one, like, oh my God, this baby is real? Holy moly.
She's awesome. Araya Ray Badji. She's awesome. Dad life's been nice. I'd say the first 6 months were tough.
Yeah.
Because we had her in June. It was right in the middle of the season. So trying to balance having a newborn, sleep, trying to figure out life on top of
How did you guys juggle that? Because you are also here in Cincinnati by yourselves. You guys don't have family out here. So you're kind of left to your own devices with the new baby, figuring that out. Yeah. What did you do?
Kudos to Brittany. She
hats off to your mom.
She definitely carried the weight when it came to that because I was in the middle of the season. It was just tough. Yeah. You need sleep for soccer, recovery, and all that, and just being sharp. It's a competitive environment to go into every day to try and be your best to compete for a spot. And so she understood that I needed a lot of my rest, and so she carried a lot of the weight for that. Yeah. And so I love her for that. That was nice. But I got to come in right after the season was done. I'd say Raya was probably 6 months old.
Good,
perfect time
sweet
to come
little
in.
spot.
Perfect time to
little
come in.
Personality shining, sitting up.
Brittany had her on a nice sleeping schedule, and so I was like, "Oh, this is easy." And she's like, "Yeah,
I love being a dad." She's like, "Yeah, okay, I already did all the dirty work." Babies are the best. Do you find? Does it change your perspective when you're on the pitch at all? Does it change you as a player? Does it change how you think about the game at all, or yourself as an athlete in terms of like what your recovery is like to keep your body a certain way? Does that affect you at all?
It's tough because you have to find that balance with, I think for me, recovery and just sleep. I love my naps, especially after hard sessions.
Isn't a nap just so nice?
It is
R.I.P.
amazing.
to naps. I've not had one in a long time.
Coming home from practice after Brittany's been with her for 7 hours straight, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to nap. It isn't probably the smartest thing. And so we found some middle ground where I'm up for a little bit and then I'll put her down and I'll nap. So we found a good balance.
It's funny. I remember my husband and I were definitely like that too, because same thing. I mean, as like a professional athlete, his body needs a different recovery than I do. It's funny, like kind of striking that balance with your partner and like divvying that up, because you don't think about it until the baby's here.
Right.
You don't have that conversation ahead of time. You're in it and you're like, whoa, white knuckling it to the finish line.
You take all that for granted. I love me a 2-hour nap. Oh, man. But now what I would do, I'd kill for a 2-hour nap.
Wouldn't that be so nice? You know what? Let's change this show. We're just going to take a nap and we'll see what happens. We'll wake up rejuvenated, recovered. Okay, let's talk some fashion. This is a sneaker sessions. I've got on these bad boys. I'm getting used to the sneaker world. I would not say that I'm the aficionado here yet. You've got a great fit happening here. Do you put a lot of effort into like a game day outfit?
Ooh. Yeah. It's the cameras are out, people are watching. You want to get a good picture. But this season I'm trying to transition a little bit.
Oh, what are we doing?
So prior to, it was all like streetwear, like baggy, oversized. But now this year I'm trying to kind of keep it.
We're refining it a little bit.
Yeah, refining it.
Okay.
Like, I'm a dad now. I can't really be wearing ripped jeans and stuff. I feel like I got to fit the mold.
So what does that look like? Are you like does anyone wear like a tailored suit to?
Yeah,
they do.
I've had a few, the older veterans.
Yeah.
Who've
You're
been
30
in it for a
now.
while.
It's time to like get that ship right.
My first game this season, I pulled up in a suit.
Okay. What color?
Gray. With a salmon button down.
Okay.
It's a nice little outfit.
Yeah. What do you do for shoes? Do you wear sneakers for that, or do you do like a dress shoe?
No, dress shoe. You gotta dress them down.
When it's tailored, you have to you've got to put the whole look together.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the best game day outfit? And we can span all sports here, because I feel like the bar has been set from
game day outfits.
I mean, we see a ton of it, obviously, with the NFL. My eyes kind of gravitate towards the NHL from time to time. And let me tell you, they can drop the ball there big time. But every now and then they get some wins.
Okay.
Who do you look to for fashion inspo?
I love lately the NHL players. I feel like a lot of them are dressed. I like their suits. A lot of them are dressed in suits. They look clean.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have their own twist to that. But for the majority, I think consistently they're the ones that show up.
Really? Interesting.
I believe that.
See, I feel like, a suit is kind of hard to screw up. If it's a tailored suit, you're good. If your suit's not tailored, we've got to, let's have a little group meeting and we need to tighten it up here a little bit. But I feel like NHL players, they don't do a lot of fun outfits that much.
No. And if we're going fun, you know what? You guys got to look up. A friend of mine, Kellen Acosta. He plays in LAFC.
Okay.
He's got very good style, but sometimes it's a fine line, and sometimes he's kind of overboard.
Do you find that your style has had to change to adapt to the city that you're playing in? Because if you're in LA, there's definitely more of a pressure to I'm going to look, who knows who's going to be there, blah, 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 blah. But to go to being in Denver to Dallas.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the vibe here, you think, in Cincinnati?
Cincy is low key. And people have always said that. They're like, some players like to dress up for practice. And they're like, we live in Cincy. What are you dressing up for?
Trying to impress.
Nobody cares. Denver was kind of the same. We're in Colorado. People don't really care what you're wearing. What brand is that? And so it's just dress warm in Cincy.
Biggest splurge you've had for shoes?
Wow.
Be honest.
Block your ears. This is a good story. I got a pair of Jordan collabed with Dior.
Oh, ooh la la.
Now, those were expensive, but I got them 3 years ago. I have not worn them. They're still in the box.
Okay, I have a really hard time with this. What is that? If you get a really great shoe and you don't want to wear it?
That one, the price was going up quickly. And so
I bought it. What did you pay for them? We can bleep it out, maybe.
$5,000.
Okay.
I bought them, and now they're almost double the price that they're at.
Wow.
Yep.
So what are you ever going to wear them? You're going to resell them?
I'm going to resell them. And I only got them because a friend of mine gave them to me he managed to get his hand on a pair of those.
Woo! Oh my God, do you have them in like a safe? I'd be worried.
No, they're like at the top, in my closet, like at the top.
The Dior collabs. What's your favorite shoe you have? Your like biggest go-to.
My go-to?
Your go-to and your favorite different. Give me your go-to.
Honestly, my go-to is just some black and white Vans.
Okay.
Lows.
Like just the checks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so easy, comfortable, and like just slipping them and kind of go with anything. Black and white shoes, you can make that work.
I'm glad that people are coming back to the Van because I love Vans too. I don't think you don't have to have like a $5,000 sneaker to be in the game. I think Vans they're great.
They're nice.
And they're like $50.
Yeah, and they get the job done. They get dirty or get a hole in them, you can get another pair.
You can mow the lawn in them. You can be Dr. Builder in them. They're indestructible. Okay, so that's your go-to. What is your favorite shoe though? Your prized possession? One that you're not going to resell. You could never part with this shoe.
It's a hard one. I've got some off-whites. They're UNCs. They're light blue, white, and I put some like neon orange laces on them. Okay. I love those. That I'll never get rid of.
So we've got a whole wall of shoes back here, and I know that you and I are going to be able to pick out some shoes for each other. I feel like as we're figuring out what this show is, what we're doing here with the sneaker sessions, I like the idea of us being able to hang out here for a little bit, get to know each other a little bit, and then see if we can pick out a shoe for the other one, which is risky.
It is.
Do you buy shoes for Brittany?
No. She's picky. So I'd rather, hey, these are the shoes I want.
Send me a link.
Yeah, send them to me.
Yeah, send me a link,
I'm the same
girl.
way, though. A present is nice, but if they're not shoes that I want, I'm like,
My husband's the worst for that. If I send him a link, he's like, oh, I got it. I'm like, to you? Fuck, please. Just open the link, please. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so before we go look at sneakers, I don't know why I'm deviating to this now. It has nothing to do with this interview. Well, I mean, it does. But, like, you have family here now. Is your brother in town?
Yeah.
What is it like having your brother here in the United States with you now?
That's awesome. Free babysitting.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Does he live with you guys?
Yeah, he's with us right now until he figures out what he's going to be doing.
Yeah. How often do you get to get back home and see your family?
I haven't been back in 3 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Does that really kill you?
Yeah, it does. Ever since the pandemic. But FaceTime makes it a little easier.
Yeah. And having a baby too. It's like,
it's
pretty crazy having a baby and not having them around your family all the time. It's such a weird thing to like wrap your head around.
It is. But like I said before, my mother figure here, her name's Janice Timberlake. She's
any relation to Justin Timberlake?
No. But she used to tell people that when we were growing up.
Yeah.
We're like, really? She's like, yeah, she's right there. But she's been amazing. Yeah. And so she's been able to help out wherever she can. Yeah. And it's been nice.
I have to like FaceTime with my mom all the time. My daughter now picks everything she picks up. Nana. To every little thing. It's very sweet. But I know not having your family right here can be a little bit rough. Do you have any intentions to go back home anytime soon or any plans to?
No, but I want my family to come here.
Okay.
So we're working
to
on that.
Move here?
No, to come visit.
Okay.
Which is going to be interesting. My mom has never left Senegal.
Oh my gosh.
And so, but she wants to meet my daughter. And so she's willing to do whatever she needs to do. And so we're working out. We're doing the paperwork right now.
Fly her into CVG Airport, baby. Get that experience.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Get her a little skyline. Have you had skyline since living here?
I have twice. And? Not for me. I love the fries. The fries are great.
Yeah.
But no.
What is Senegalese food like?
Oh,
talk to
seafood.
Me. Oh, okay.
Seafood.
Okay.
Senegal is right on the western coast. Fresh seafood. a lot of rice-based dishes. And it's just white rice with a stew of some sort. And you just mix the two. And
what's like the main spice selection?
We have this cube. It's called Magic, translated into English, which kind of has all these ingredients. I couldn't tell you what's in there, but you kind of, every meal, you just pop that in there and it's got salt, pepper, paprika, whatever.
One-stop shop.
It really is. And they put that in everything.
Seafood wise, is it like shrimp, fish, scallops, anything, all the above?
A lot of white fish, a lot of shrimp, a lot of crab, not as much scallops.
Do you ever recreate these meals at home?
I wish. I've tried a couple times, but they're very, very hard.
Okay.
And you can't, Senegalese dishes are so complex that you can't go online and find one. You can find that's okay, but just not. You need ingredients that you can't find here.
Well, the good thing with the internet nowadays, you can get that stuff shipped. You can get a little something. You got to just pay out the nose for it a little bit. But every now and then you can like land on things you're like, that was just the flavor that I needed.
Yeah. There's a really good Senegalese food spot here in Cincinnati.
Really?
Cincinnati, fun fact, has the second largest population of Senegalese people in the U.S.
What?
Yep. New York being number one.
Wow. Do you get a lot of Senegalese people out to the games?
I do. A
lot
of them. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
I've run into so many of them at the airport, just walking around, you can kind of, at the mall.
That's cool. I feel that way about Canadians, but it's definitely not the same as Senegalese. That's pretty special. That's really cool.
It is.
So second season with Cincinnati FC, you're still very young. You've got many years ahead of you, but have you started to kind of think of what you want your life to look like outside of soccer?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years, I put a lot into perspective, seeing people that I came into the league with retire or have to end their careers early, and a lot of my friends having to retire.
Yeah.
Puts that I got a whole life ahead of me after this.
I know.
And so, yeah, there are a few things that I'm very excited about that I've been working on.
Okay.
More aggressively this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because since he's given me a lot of resources to be able to explore a few of the things that have been ideas, but now I'm putting them into practice.
Ooh,
so
okay. Do we get a little sneak peek of what it is, or are we keeping it under lock?
Yeah, a little sneak peek. I still want to be involved with soccer. Because it's something I've had my whole life. It brings me joy, and I want to be able to share that with
Can I guess
people.
what it is?
Sure.
You're going to be a broadcaster.
I wish. I don't know how people do it. I've been around,
but you would be so good at it.
I've been around soccer my whole life. And like,
you're great at this.
When I get home, you can ask Brittany, I don't want to talk about soccer. And so having to talk about it 24/7, no.
Okay.
And maybe like I've gone from idea to idea. And so maybe in 6 months that changes. But as of right now,
I wouldn't say shut the door.
Yeah, okay. I'm not opposed to it.
That's where you can keep those good suits coming in handy. You can put on the
good
good outfit, put on a little powder, get out there and talk a little soccer.
You know what? I take my answer back. Instead of a hard no, I'm not opposed. I'm open to
Should we edit out the laugh? Because you laughed pretty hard when I said it.
Yeah, edit out the laugh. I'm open to any and all ideas post soccer.
Okay, so do I get any other kind of sneak peek other than me jumping on what your answer was going to be because I thought that I knew what it was?
Sure. I love being able to give back to the community.
Okay.
And I love kids. And so I want kids to have an opportunity that I did not have. But I wish I had, and, create relationships with kids, maybe see me as a mentor of some sort, but just somewhere where they feel safe and comfortable and able to play soccer and develop their soccer skills.
Did you really have anyone that mentored you? You were kind of left to your own devices.
Yeah. Which is why I want to make something that I did not have. Because I think if I did have it, I would have done things a little differently growing up. Yeah. Even though I'm happy where I am, but I think it would have been nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of.
Sure. I mean, God, when you think of like where you came from and what you had aspired to do to where you're at now, it's like, man, whether you zigged and zagged or however you ended up getting there, I mean, those are the experiences of getting to where you are. But if you were able to have someone to just like check in with and have a point person, whatever, like, I
think my biggest question when I moved to the States was, is this normal? came across it all the time.
Yeah.
But there was nobody I could really bounce those ideas off of. Like, is this normal for?
Like, you mean like whether it was like contract stuff?
Yeah,
or...
contract, the way people interact, food, just the way. I can only speak for Virginia because that's where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this how people are in the whole U.S.?
Yeah,
that's all I knew. That was my bubble.
And it really is crazy when you're not from the United States. And I was saying earlier, it's like each state feels so different.
Very
all
different.
the different vibe and everything. Yeah, it's all very, very different. So yeah, definitely to have someone to be a bit of a point person.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's
Giving back to the community, everybody, and a future in broadcasting. Let's go pick out some shoes.
Let's do it.